Alright, so I don't know when I'm going to post this because it's going to take a few days of me figuring this out. So you have, this is what came out of the AC from the non-nav. If you look, this is the different amp. It's missing 4 wires on my car, the nav version. There's 4 wires missing. Apparently none of those wires are needed, but I'm pretty sure from reading I have to tap into 6 of these wires to make my own harness to tap into the back of the AC control, which I have right here. I also have, reach in here, I also have my own batch of the plugs and peg pieces, like the pin pieces. That way I can make my own wires to it and plug them all in. Since my kit that I bought, the AC, didn't come with the stock plug off the back of it. Can't seem to find that anywhere. So yeah. But apparently I have to wire into this, which is the amp, since all this other stuff is for all the nav and that, which obviously I'm not going to be able to sell the nav because I just have all this stuff. So yeah, entertaining to say the least. This is going to be interesting, but as you can see, my dash is all pulled out. I also want to replace all of these with my gauges, so that'll be another time. But I'm just trying to get this dash in, the tablet in, whether my AC runs or not. It's going to be an interesting story. So there's that piece, and let me, because I'm done for today. There's that. And then, of course, I forgot to take my CD that was in there. And then my whole, this is the whole, and this whole stock AC controls. So completely different plug. So that's why it's kind of interesting is how this runs, because it's not the same way. It's just not the same wiring. So yeah, not sure what's for what. I'm assuming this bottom pinout was for the AC controls and this top one is for the nav system. So I don't know. I'll play with it and look at it tomorrow. Alright, I wanted to give you guys a little bit of an update. I've been working on the car on and off for a little while, just here and there. So don't mind the fact that all of this is ripped out. I'm eventually replacing these gauges. I have an A-pillar for here, for 2 gauges. I'm gonna be wiring that next at some point. But I wanted to show you, so the nav has all this lovely, the screen was here, all these connections. I haven't removed all the harnessing in that, but I want to show you something. So here we have, I don't want to pull it too far. So you have, let's see if my lighting here. So you have a few things. So you have a pigtail that comes off the back of it. Now if you see, I don't have them all wired. So these are the illumination wires. I have to splice these into my hazards because my hazards have the positive and negative illumination. So that's going to be these. Ignore the colors. That's just how it is, how I made it with what extra wires I had. So here are these 4. You can follow the link in the description. It's going to have a link to the how to pin out. But it basically, if you look down here, this is an amp from a non-nav. So you have to buy the non-nav. You have to buy this, which the pigtail is in the description of where to buy this. You have to buy, when you buy this, buy the pins that go with it. Now you probably need to buy smaller pins for this, I made the ones for this work. They're stuffed in there. I don't want to touch it too much because I didn't solder everything yet. I want to make sure it works first. So here's the like all my taping and that. Not the best job in the world. I know I need to like fix it. Now here's the thing. Here, these two wires right here are 2 more pin slots that I put in. So the difference is the nav version has, these two don't have these 4 slots. They don't have the 4. So this amp switch, it doesn't come with the wiring harness. So, but luckily this came with the wiring harness off of the non-nav. So I just plugged this nav one into there and added the 4 pins. The 4 pins, 2 of them are for the AC control, because the nav version is digital signal as opposed to the non-nav is analog, from my understanding. So this is illumination. These 2 control the AC. Now the thing is, these 2, I have to wire these, which I'll have to update you as to where the exact location, but no one has ever been able to figure out, to my knowledge, at least in the forum, where to wire this to get your rear defrost to work. A friend of mine in Bobby's, I'll mention his name later, he basically showed me all the wiring and we figured out that where to wire these. So that way I can get my rear defrost working. And that's the update for now. Just want to show you that they are in fact working. So I'm gonna put the car, if this will sit there. I have a dash kit that's going in, but. So I also want to confirm, I don't know if that's supposed to stay on, but I'm pretty sure it doesn't matter if that's on or not, because this is the actual on. But you can hear the fans. I tested both the AC and the heat. They both work. So it's amazing. The only thing is, if you look, that does not light up because, well, I can change it to the different settings. That part works. But the rear defrost doesn't work because, well, it's not wired in. So that's the part that I have to wire in. That'll take some time. But for now, at least I have working air conditioner and that. And I have to get used to this like old school dial stuff. All right, sorry for the long video. I just want to show the whole process. It's kind of a pain in the butt. So in order to get the defrost to work, the first step is right here. This is your BCM. So the BCM between the nav version and the non-nav version is the same. So if you look, I added a pin, and this is like what you're gonna have to do. The defrost on it, if you look at the diagram in the link in the video description, that page I'm gonna update. But if you see, this is slot 130 right here. So it's kind of a pain. So first you have to pry this open. Then I pulled this off. When I pulled this off, I was able to push through it and slide this in, and it didn't go easy. You kind of have to, there's like a little clip in the inside of the hole that you have to use like a bobby pin or something like pointed to hold it as you kind of push it in. And here's the end. So now I'm gonna just splice this, you know, put a spliced in and splice wires. So that's that part. So I'm gonna backtrack a little bit of previously what I've already done. So it's kind of a pain. So as you saw, I took everything out already. Mind you, I'm gonna solder these. I just wanted to do this to test to make sure everything works. So it's kind of a bit of a mess right now. It was a rush job kind of thing. And I also wanted to make sure everything works before I finally do all of the soldering. So as you see, I didn't have the stock harness for the non-nav. So what I had to do is I had to buy, which is on the link within the instructions that you've seen. There's this, and then you have to, from that same website, you have all these pins. Like I got a pack of, I think like 20 or something like that. Let me show you down here. So you have the pins, and then you have the pigtail. So you have to basically wire all of these wires. It's kind of a pain in the butt because you have the pigtail that you have to make. Unless you were able to salvage this pigtail off of the AC unit, and then you can just wire it in. So as you can see, there's 6 wires off of this. There's 6 wires off of this, okay? None of these wires, technically, only 2 of them control the entire AC. 2 are for illumination, which the 2 illumination, 2 of them are plugged in and connected, and I wired them into my hazard. So it's kind of hard to see, but the hazard between the nav version and the non-nav version are the same. There is a difference between the, what do they call it, the 6-speed manual transmission versus the 7-speed automatic. However, it's just the colors are different. The same 2 inner and outer are the wires that you splice into. Just the colors of the wires are different depending on if you have the manual or the automatic. But they are the exact same 2 wires. It's just the colors are different. So mind you that pinout. The main part that was the pain was not just that, the BCM to get the defrost to work, which no one's been able to do, mind you. That's the fix that I got from Nissan Tech, as well as doing some research myself to make sure. I will show you a video when I'm done. So here is the non-nav amp. So you have to swap the nav amp for the non-nav. Now, here's the fun part. It's kind of hard to see, but you have to splice in and basically make 4 pigtails. So the stock one is not the same, and it's basically different. So if you look at the instructions, there's 4 pins that you have to add. They're on over here on this side. But you have to basically add 4 pins. The 4 pins are basically to control the heating and air, the defrost, and everything else. So the defrost is the part that there's the 2 extra pins. I think it's 26 and 27. Those 2 pins are to actually control the defrost. One of the pins goes all the way over here to the BCM. Then the other wire goes all the way over there to the driver's side kick panel, which there's another wire I have to show you here in a little bit when I wire that in. So that's everything. If you follow the instructions and then follow the added instructions I'm going to add and link it in the video description to that thread, that way you have the full instructions. Mind you, this is all on your own. There's high risk. If you wire something wrong, you can fry everything. You can fry your BCM. So, yeah. All right, so it's actually pin 27. It's hard to see with the lighting. It's very difficult. But pin 27 off of your amp is going to pin 130 of the BCM. So I want to show you real quick. I realized I left off. I have it wired. So what's going to happen is this is the far left. It's hard to see. There's all this stuff in the way, but it plugs in right here. So be careful pulling it out. It's very difficult to get to. But there's actually 2 bolts, and I'm going to show you in a minute once I install it. There's 2 bolts you have to unbolt, one on the top and one here to pull this out to get access to it. I also pulled the carpet down, that way you can easily get to it. I'm going to push this back in and then insert everything back together. But off of this, it's actually this, if you can see that, it's actually the second from the top that you have to add the pin. So it's the closest to you. The second one from the top is pin 130. If you see the diagram, that you have to add the pin off of. So hopefully this works. Hopefully that's a thick enough gauge wire. I believe it is. So we'll see. All right, so here you have the 10mm bolt and screw. So the screw goes right here. The bolt, it's like really difficult to see, but all the way up right there, right there. It's hard to get to, but I used this lovely angled. I use that to get to it, so just want to show you. Alright, so on the AC amp, the plug, if you look at the diagram, you're gonna connect number 26 connection pin off the amp all the way in here to your driver's side panel. So this is, the top one is M3. So this is your M3 right here. And then depending on what color, what car you have, if you have the coupe or the roadster, I have the roadster, so mine is this 9C, this wire right here, the orange one right here. So I need to splice into that and connect that to the pin 26, and then now I should have rear defrost. All right, so just want to show you everything's back and put back together. I do know I need to like fix up the paint. When I painted it, it was just too cold out, so it didn't work the best. So I just want to show you, I have the AGeekyGuy software on here. If it'll go. Wasn't hitting it hard enough. Still getting used to this dash. So I'm in demo mode right now just to show you an idea. I can change this dashboard up by any way I want, but it's in demo mode right now. But I can have the gauges however I want. I also want to show you that, in fact, it runs. And you look, my defrost actually works. So I can turn my rear defrost on. I have my hot air, can turn it to AC. So I can do tons of stuff, but I just want to show you everything works. So yeah, take it easy. Time for me to go for a test drive real quick. All right, so I have these up, but it's really not doing anything right now. I just kind of wanted to play with it. It's the Brainiac software. So I just want to show you. Here the AC works, or for now the heat, AC, defrost. As you see, it lights up. It does work. I can change like where I'm at. So I wanted to explain real quick the reason why. Let's turn this off. I want to explain to you the reason why this wasn't working for other people is a few things. So sorry I'm not looking the best. I just wanted to explain real quick that the nav version of the 370Z, the reason why you have to do some pinouts and some changes is because the 370Z nav version actually sends a digital signal to control the air conditioner in that. That's why on the nav version, there's 4 pins that are missing, because the air conditioner as well as a few of the other things are all controlled digitally. Now, the non-nav version is controlled by analog. Basically a wire powering it, telling it on, off, positive, negative, telling it when to send power or not, like a switch. So there's no difference between the BCM in the nav version and the non-nav version. There is a difference in the AC amp between the nav and the non-nav version. The AC amp is different. So that's why you have to swap out the amp. You have to change, you have to add 4 pins to the non-nav pinout, because those pins don't exist to control the air conditioner as well as send the signal from your knobs. So that's why those things are missing. The amp is what controls the defrost. This sends the analog signal basically to the amp. The amp says, hey, turn this on or that off, depending on wattage and everything else. So that's the breakdown. I got it working. So thank you very much I want to thank Michael I want to thank him personally for helping me figure out the wiring on it. It works. Now I'm gonna have to do a write-up and post it to the video description that also links to the write-up on the 370Z forum. I'm gonna try to add it in both places. Don't hold me accountable if you screw stuff up. It's just, you know, it's a lot of wiring. You have to really be confident in what you're doing to do this. But I have it working, so that's that so much. Bye. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe. Check out my other videos, whatever YouTube recommends. I'm gonna do some more tuning and driving around, so catch you later.